for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning, let's bring in a RISE analyst, Dr. Constance Ikwoku. Good morning, Dr. Constance.
A very good morning to you, Yolanda.
Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Another day. And then Charles, how are we doing this morning?
Well, we're getting better. Thank you so much. Very good morning to you, Dr. Constance.
Good to hear that. Good morning. And to look at the papers with us today, we have Samuel Odaudu, who is the Deputy Editor of Blueprint newspaper. Hello there and welcome to a program. We'll begin with this day. We'll look at the story there. Peter Obi, President using misleading statistics to conceal economic hardship. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, said that during the 2023 elections, the ruling All Progressives Congress conned his use of statistics, explaining that then candidate Bola Tinubu once said, "Na statistics will go chop. All I want is to put food on the table of Nigerians," end of quote. Well, now 2 years in, Obi says Nigeria is ranked one of the hungriest nations in the world, with millions battling with poverty. According to Obi, the president relies on false data to misrepresent the true state of affairs. Well, what an extraordinary turn of events. Now statistics will go chop. Now we're actually chopping statistics in a nation where biting hardship is all too familiar. Let's stick with these days still to see a second story on the window. E-payment transactions rise 17.7% to 284.99 trillion naira in Q1 2025. According to this report, not only are electronic transactions on the rise, point-of-sale transactions are seeing an upward trend, rising to 10.5 trillion naira in Q1 2025. In January of this year, 5.5 million terminals were in use across Nigeria. This rose to 5.8 million in February and 5.9 million by the end of March. Nigeria is certainly changing. We know that there are huge benefits to electronic transactions. There's convenience and speed, enhanced security, financial inclusion, as well as it's cost effective in many cases. So this is good. Samuel, your response to this development?
Well, very interesting statement by Mr. Peter Obi.
Yes, isn't it?
Data we go chop. And then in that story, there is
it was President Tinubu that said that statistics will go chop.
Yes, quoting Mr. President. And he even added that the president is now overfeeding Nigerians with data and statistics. Peter Obi is a very respected analyst. We know when he presents his facts, they are verifiable. This time, we see him acting out of character, sort of, because he is now speaking as a typical politician. I expect that when he is bringing out this kind of statement, he is supposed to back them with relevant facts. He should give us instances mentioning about the recent economic rebasing. Yes, it is very important. Rebasing is important. We are the fourth largest economy in Africa on that account. It's very important to also mention that the highlight of this current rebasing is on the fact that it is important to capture emergent economies so as to reflect the current realities, like fintechs. You just mentioned about how financial inclusion through the use of electronic transactions is on the increase. We have even a pension fund administration and other sectors that are emerging. So these are facts. So I understand that yes, things are not very rosy as a result of the reforms of the present administration. It's also good as a journalist, we also look at certain parameters and facts. The past 2 weeks or 3 weeks or thereabout, my paper, the Blueprint, we went to do survey and in the market, especially as it regards to food inflation. And we found out that there is at least a significant drop in food inflation. These are real-time information from those who are stakeholders, the middlemen, the farmers, the market women, and even the consumers. So to that extent, yes, we can say that there is a little bit of improvement, better than when it was. Yes, at this point, it is very important. We should expect something more from Mr. Peter Obi, so that he can give us the instances where the government has really failed, so that we will be able to compare notes with whatever the government is saying. And then looking at the aspect of the transactions using POS, using apps, this is just the way to go. The cashless policy is working, and the inclusive idea that, yes, let's capture people in the rural areas. We must also consider those who are our illiterate population, who are also bankable. And then we must commend the policy the way it is working, but we must also put them on their toes to ensure that there should be more investment in order to make sure that we have improved technology to reduce the number of hitches, because still we have issues of bad transactions. We have problems of reversing undelivered or half transacted processes. We still have those issues, and so the stakeholders and the government, we need to come together to ensure that we have more investments in the technology so that more people can be captured in this financial space and cashless economy.
Okay, let's see Daily Sun this morning. Two stories here. Ohaneze rejects bill elevating Oni Sultan above other monarchs. The Oni of Ife and the Sultan of Sokoto in this bill are to be made the exclusive co-chairman of the Traditional Rulers Council, describing, the Ohaneze describes this as discriminatory and harmful to national unity. The National Publicity Secretary of Ohaneze Ndigbo Worldwide, Dr. Ezechi Chukwu, called for the immediate withdrawal of this bill, saying it has no place in a pluralistic society. Samuel, quickly, this story broke last week, so Ohaneze is now reacting to this. I mean, it's ruffling feathers. Africans continue to sort of use colonial template to divide and unsettle very diverse societies, which is a problem.
Yes, you are right. On this bill, we really need to be very careful as a nation, because it has come at the point where ethnic tensions are still slightly high, and it is bringing up primordial sentiments that border on fairness, equity, justice, and so on and so forth. Like the Ohaneze Ndigbo said, it will appear awkward, as they say, it is unethical and it is unconstitutional and immoral to bring the Sultan of Sokoto and the Oni of Ife to be ahead of others. In fact, they are proposing it is better to have co-heads in that organization if this bill at all comes to light. And it's not only the Ohaneze Ndigbo. The Middle Belt Forum has also come up strongly to oppose this bill. They are even looking backward, saying that many of the kingdoms predate some of the names, especially the Sultanate, in terms of existence. And so it will look somehow, according to them, to bring more maybe centurial traditional institutions to come under some other traditional institutions. They mentioned, for example, the Kanem Borno Empire. They mentioned the Tortif, which is the Tif Kingdom. They mentioned the Jukum, the Ukari Kingdom. They mentioned the Ata of Igala, and that is the Igala traditional kingdom, and so on and so forth. And of course, that does not delegitimize the existence of others. Whoever is currently the traditional institution, but in terms of bringing all of them together, I think it should come in, let it be like the National Assembly, let it be democratized in such a way that per time, according to season, and as it may be convenient, they can elect or nominate those that co-head their organizations and coordinate things from time to time.
You know, well, I can understand the standpoint of the Ohaneze Ndigbo. Now, you choose a traditional ruler from two ethnic groups. Meanwhile, we know here in Nigeria, there are 3 major ethnic groups who are actually supposed to be the highest in terms of population and all that. So, a Yoruba traditional ruler, a Hausa Fulani traditional ruler, even though, I mean, that divide is actually being explained now. And then, of course, there is none from the southeast. So I can actually understand the standpoint of the Ohaneze Ndigbo. Then, of course, even historically speaking, like Mr. O'Dowd said, where are you living the Oba of Benin? Where are you living the Shehu of Borno? And even in Yoruba land, the Alafi of Oyo is historically the emperor of Igbo land. But of course, you know, that has been an argument that over time has been, you know, the source of a lot of controversy among the Southwesterners. But then we won't even go into that. But he has also mentioned the other kings and kingdoms that probably even have larger territories around them and have older monarchies. So why exactly, what exactly is the reason for the Senate actually choosing these two?
All right, well said on that topic. Let's look at the other story in Daily Sun. ANPP bloc in APC threatens to quit. The story also appears in Daily Trust. Can we pull that up? 2027 ANPP bloc insists on VP slot. I mean, this is 12 years after formation of the All Progressives Congress. Members of the Nigeria People's Party, ANPP, allege marginalization. You know, they said that the Congress for Progressive Change bloc ruled under Buhari for 8 years. Then the Action Congress of Nigeria bloc is currently in power under President Tinubu and for the sake of fairness, that after one term, President Tinubu should hand over to the ANPP bloc. Well, and then there's the other story that says they want the VP slot. Yeah, I just wonder why, under President Buhari, why didn't they ask him to do one term and hand over to them? I mean,
you know, I am actually...
Very quickly, Charles, because we spent a lot of our time.
No, seriously, I mean, I am wondering what the NNPC composition is like. Initially, I actually thought the other parties actually collapsed their structures under the APC. And now the CPC faction is re-emerging. The ANPP faction has also re-emerged. So what happens when the PDP faction re-emerges? And then, of course, we have the APGA faction also re-emerging. No wonder Victor Ome says there's APC APGA, there's PDP APGA, and then there's APGA, which is our own, meaning that in Nigerian politics, anything is possible and absolutely nothing is certain.
All right, lots of allegations of marginalization. APC has issues. Anyway, Daily Independent this morning, quickly, we would deny Nigerians planning to give birth in U.S. visa, according to the U.S. Embassy. This was, issued on the embassy's X handle. Well, this practice has taken place for years. You know, the U.S. is a country of birthright citizenship. Or that may come to an end, very soon under President Trump. So this is a message to you. Put your house in order. Secondly, IBAS to oversee August 30 scheduled LG poll in Rivers. The SOA administrator, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, retired, will conduct the election based on the fact that the Supreme Court had nullified previous local government election conducted by Governor Sim Fubara in October 2024. Upon assuming office, Ibas dissolved and restructured the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. Yeah, listen. The fears of Fubara's camp has come to pass. Within 6 months, a sole administrator is conducting local government elections which was a source of political tension prior. What a turn of events, Samuel.
Well, the drama in River State, political development will continue, and we will continue to monitor the events. A lot has been said on that 24 hours when this news broke. There are a lot of oppositions to this, mainly because we are still dealing with the issue of constitutionality, or otherwise, of the IBA as the sole administrator. So, is it lawful for a sole administrator to conduct a local government elections? That has to be dealt with. And then the second factor is the fear of the opposition, especially the PDP members, the Fubara's camp. Are we now going to hand over the structure of the state into the hands of the APC so cheaply? Because that is the fear, and that is what it means. Once this election is conducted, it will translate into handing over the structure of the state to the APC, and that is the issue right now. We are going to see so much of this. Like you mentioned, IBAS really did a lot of deconstruction, yes, in terms of whittling down the influence, the camps of Fubara. A lot of political appointees he inherited, they have been laid off. The River State Independent Electoral Commission, we are having a lot of things coming up, and the civil society organizations, and of course the critical stakeholders amongst the PDP, the youth, everybody is literally up in arms, saying, no, we can't have this. This is not what the people of River State need at this moment. So we are going to see, because it's quite a delicate issue that involves both the formal and the present FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and the Fubara's camp. But we already know that that issue from that top, they have reconciled and they have decided not to say anything. But it's very curious, okay, Samuel, whether the Fubara who has not said anything is part of the plan that this kind of election should be conducted, and this kind of peaceful process should just go on without his resistance.
Let's see the Vanguard newspaper. At reception for Super Falcons, Tinubu gives each Falcons player $100,000. National honors houses, a 3-bedroom apartment each. Each technical crew got $50,000. What is there to say here? Well deserved. Mm-hmm. But something worthy of note, though, in the long term, most players end up in poverty due to several reasons. So there are short career spans, lack of sponsorship and endorsements, there's low salaries and inconsistent pay, and the rest of it. So you would want or expect a system to be built to provide for security in the long term. Critical, Yolanda.
Yes, well, in as much as what you said is very on point and true, I think for now I'd just like to keep my focus on how well the Nigerian national women's team has done. They've done a really good job. And I think this reward of $100,000, which they said would be given in an equivalent of Naira, I think it's a good reward. Plus the homes that they've been awarded, I believe they're 3-bedroomed. I hope that that plan is seen to completion. And, you know, just well done to the team. They did exceptionally well. A 10th time in a row is not a joke. It's not something to be taken lightly. And in as much as there's so much truth in what you said, I think we should just focus on the victory for now and hope that the future will have something good in store. Charles, you seem to have chuckled at that.
Well, yeah, no, we can't take that.
I know where Dr. Constance is going with this, but you see, what most of these sports people, not just the Super Falcons, what they need is good management.
Right.
If you don't have someone to manage your resources, no matter how much you make, you'll end up living in penury. While in some cases, some sports people are actually just irresponsible, like those who are alcoholics, those who are gamblers. I'm talking about male football this time around. I know how they manage to end up. But for these ones, yes, they have this windfall. So good management of resources, I think, will actually help them, because if you don't help yourself, unfortunately, nobody will help you when you're no longer relevant.
Well, they did have a grand reception at the Aso Villa. The Punch newspaper, FG may sell 11 discos to new investors. Very important story. This will be done through a reprivatization process if the Electricity Amendment Act bill before the National Assembly passes. New reforms are underway, and this could see investors in distribution companies lose their stakes if they fail to improve their investments, we're told. If this bill passes, it will force investors in 11 successor discos to inject fresh capital or face regulatory actions such as share dilution, receivership, and outright privatization. I mean, if you do a quick vox pop in the streets about electricity, what you'll probably hear is that the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has been underwhelming. But whatever the reforms are or that will be put in place, people just want to see that the results are there for them. Quickly, our time is fast spent. Let's see the headlines of a leadership newspaper. Elation as Tinubu showers cash, house gifts, national honors on Victoria's Super Falcons. The Guardian newspaper this morning. Poor digital retail offerings mar 85 trillion naira stock market potential. It also has that story on Rivers' upcoming local government polls. Then New Telegraph, TCN maintenance, blackout may push alternative energy costs to 2 trillion naira according to organized private sector. Fraud control, Nigerians' BVN enrollment hit 66 million. People. That's a progress. International papers this morning. Daily Graphic have bid farewell after yearly rumors about his passing. Ghanaian high life legend Charles Fosu, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. Lumba finally died. May his soul rest in peace. The Citizen newspaper. Pilots shoot down pay after FlySafair, whose pilots are on strike, face increasing pressure. The pilots are refusing the new salary package, insisting that there are terrible conditions of service too to be dealt with. This dispute continues. Daily Mail, President Donald Trump was in Scotland visiting, and he had an advice for UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. It says here, Trump tells Starmer how to see off Farage. It ain't rocket science. Cut taxes and ruinous immigration. One problem, the Labour leader is, a complete opposite to doing what Trump is advising. It also appears in Daily Express where it says, Trump's pretty simple advice for PM. Lower taxes, stop crime, cut illegal immigration, protect farms. Very quickly, Yolanda, I don't know if you have any comments on this. These two men are fundamentally different in terms of ideology.
Absolutely. And the unsolicited advice, I think, was such a big shock for Keir Starmer. And Trump had dubbed it a very simple formula because it's what he's using in America at the moment, stopping immigrants from coming in and cutting taxes. And he's also raising the tariffs for many different countries. So I think it was a very unexpected happening, and Keir Starmer handles things quite differently from Trump, but for sure, unsolicited advice.
Yeah, Conservatives and Labour, two different parties. To our final story, the Daily Telegraph, Starmer prepares to unveil plan for recognizing Palestinian state. And if we also look at the I newspaper, on the same story, you can't fake that starvation. Trump and UK send new Gaza warning to Israel. It says here that Trump is pushing for a new ceasefire. Since President Emmanuel Macron's solo recognition of the Palestinian state may have set a tone. We have to leave it there. Samuel Odaudu, Deputy Editor, Blueprint newspaper. Always a pleasure to have you.
And it's always a pleasure having you lead the newspaper review. Dr. Constance Ikoku, thank you so much for today as well. And that's all we have time for here on Daybreak. I'm Charles Eruka. It's goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Goodbye.